Hello guys, welcome to my other tutorial, and today I shall be doing what I should have done before I started uploading some of my tutorials. I want to give you a quick overview on using Blender, and I shall be using Blender 2.7. As you can see, so far this is the latest from the time I got, but I don't know if there's any other new updates already out there, but so far this is the one that I have. So with this one, I will start by showing you the fundamentals of Blender, just in case you're coming out of, let's say, Maya or 3ds Max, 3ds Max, and want to venture into Blender for a quick, maybe just to see how it works like. You can just click on this Blender button and you have these options like 3ds Max or Maya. So it integrates the functions of like the buttons, the keys, which you have in 3ds Max and Maya. It will function almost in the same way, since Blender is oriented in a different way. For example, I will show you here. Let me close this. I will show you. To select in Blender, we use the left. Okay, wait. Let me turn on my screencast keys so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. To select in Blender left, let me just add maybe another sphere. Sphere there. Okay. And let me add in a cone, the default. Okay, so to select, you're gonna use the right mouse button. You see, right mouse button. That's the button you use to select. It's different from how we select in let's say Windows or Mac, Apple. You use the right mouse key to select. But when you want to open some of these functions, you use the left mouse key. Like, say for example, you want to smoothen your cube, you use the left mouse key. I mean, if you use the right mouse, it will give you these options on that button to edit, which I'm not even so sure how you edit any of those or use those functions. Anyway, so that's how you select. In this viewport, you use the right mouse, and the panel and everywhere else, you use the left mouse to select. Okay, so let's say you want to start adding these objects like I just did here. It's quite simple. Let me delete these. It's quite simple. How you just go about it, you either can come on to this. Maybe if it comes as it's collapsed, you can press the T button on your keyboard and go to this tab written create, and here are some of the meshes that you can add, your curves, your lamps, and other stuff like the camera and the speaker, and so forth. So let's say you want to add Suzanne the monkey. You hit with your left mouse button and it automatically will appear in this view. So you need to take note that there is this crosshair cursor that seems to follow whenever I tap my mouse pad or my left mouse button. This is where your objects are gonna emerge when you add them into your scene or your viewport. So let's say you want to add your cube. Automatically it will come to this point where this cursor is. So there's another way for you to add these objects, and the shortcut to delete your cube, maybe you don't want it anymore, hit X, then press D, or you can just come to it, then you can just hit your delete button and press D again, or you can hit enter when the delete option comes out. So to return your cursor into the center, you just hit Shift C and voila, like that. And to add, You can also use hotkeys to add your objects. That's Shift A. Then you've got your accessories at your right side here. Your curves, yeah, your surfaces, your metaballs, your text. It's just the same way of using the tab or the hotkeys. So now let's get into edit mode. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna split these views. This is the viewport. Okay, before I go further into the editing, I hit T to return this toolbar, then hit N to there's a property bar on the side. So you can move your cube or your object in the scene in this viewport using the properties here. If it's a mesh, like here, you can use the X, you can move it via the X, the Z, and the Y. You can't see the Y because this is the Z and X view here, right here. It's the front view. So since it's 3D, the Y is at the back. To go to view the back, you can hit on your number pad 3. That's the Y. Now if you start moving it, you can see, but if I move the X, you won't see, but it's moving. Like, let me move it to this point, and I come back, see, it's moved. So you need to bear in mind that these values here work quite well, but you just need to pay very close attention with your viewports right here. So you can also animate stuff using this these values right here, and you can also lock them just in case maybe you use this properties panel a lot, or maybe you're moving your you've got many objects in your scene and you keep moving them and you don't want a certain object to lose its location. You lock them right over here. Lock it. So now you see all my manipulations, the Z, the Y, and the X axis have been taken out of the view. Now there's the Z is back and the X is back. Okay, so since we're done with that, then there's the rotation, as it says itself. Rotate on the Y on the X axis, rotate on the Z, and rotate on the Y, as it says itself. Okay, so I want to spend much of your time there. Now let's go to scale. So this makes it bigger in a certain direction. This grows bigger in the X, bigger in the Z, in the Y, bigger in the Z. So as it says itself, you scale it. So I'll show you another way, the advantages of using Blender. Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. That's supposed to be 1 and 1 there. Okay, so here's another way you can move these things. Let's say you're in the viewport right here, and maybe this is scattered and you've got many views, you split your screens, and this just can't fit. Like for example, let's say, so to split your screen, you hit right mouse button, then split, then choose where you want to split. Then you can also so you can also split this view. You can come to the way this viewport joins with this viewport. You come there and those stretching arrows come out, then you hit your right mouse, then split again and split. Then to join, it's just the same thing, but joining is different. You hit when your stretching cursor comes, arrows come out, you hit right click, then hit join. Now here's the tricky part. You join the view that you want to the one with the arrow. So let's say I want how can I put it this way? Let's say I want this one. So I'll put the arrow pointing this direction, then I hit this direction, so this one will come down. So yeah, okay, so since we've done that, so there we go. So I can put with my mouse, my numpad 1, that's my front view, and this 3, my side view, and I can put this as 7 as my top view. These views can also be manipulated from the top here. There are some defaults that are already prepared by Blender. Let's say there's the animation, the compositing, the default, the game logic, just the ones that you want to use. So usually I like to work with these views since I can see all angles. So as I was saying about the movement of these objects, let's say I want to move this cube, right? I'll just come to the cube, select the cube with my right mouse, right, then hit G, right, this is the grab tool. So by moving my mouse, well, after hitting G, the cube moves in a direction which is not specific. You can go this way, this way, this way. So let's say you want to move it on the Y direction right over here, and maybe the screen is scattered. So you just hit G, then hit Y, then it's locked to the Y axis. Maybe you want to move it to the Z, along the Z axis. You just hit G, Z, and there you go. Maybe on the X axis, since this viewport has got Z and Y only, we'll have to come to the viewport with the Z and X. So either this one or this one. So we want to hit G here and X and there. So you can also do that for the rotation. So let's say I want to rotate. Okay, since it's a cube, let me. Okay, you can also scale using the same hotkeys. Here S, then X, then you can scale it, and you can hit S and Y. You can scale it along the Y axis. We hit Z, S, then Z. You can scale it on the Z axis, whether small or bigger, using your mouse. That is. So now, let's say I wanted to rotate this. Okay, since this side is just too squarish, I want to scale it along the Y. Okay, so let's say I want to rotate it on the X axis. Maybe I want it to face this front port. I'm just going to hit R, right, for rotation, then X for the rotation with the angle it's going to rotate with, and write the amount of degrees it's going to rotate. You can just type in 90, and there you go. Voila, it's rotated 90 degrees. Let's say you want to rotate maybe 45. 45. There. Very precise, very precise. And if you come here, it just updates the values on these ports right here. Okay, so now let's talk about let's talk about animating your scene now. Okay, here's the fun part. Animating your scene. You can animate it via location or rotation. So let's say you want to make this rectangle rotate. All you're gonna do is come to this rotation, right? You select the value you want to, where you want the animation to start. Let's say you want it to start at 45 degrees, and now you come to the frame that you want to animate it from. Let's say I want it to start at frame 15, for example, because I know if I started from 1, how will you say how about off, or if it's in the front. So since I put it on frame 15, I'm gonna go hover my mouse onto the rotation, then I'm gonna hit my I key, right? Then I'm gonna move my let's say my frames to frame 50 from frame 15. So now if there's a keyframe already that's been activated, and if you move your marker here, this part will appear green, because it shows that there is a keyframe somewhere and maybe it hasn't got an envelope one. So as soon as I hit my I key right on, okay, wait, before I do that, I need to rotate this. Let's say 90, like so. Yeah, no, let's say 130. Yeah, let's say 130. Okay, like so. So now I hit I, then voila, it turns yellow. So now if I come to my first part here and I press Alt A to play, or this button right here, it will play the animation. So as soon as it hits that point, you see, as soon as it hits this marker, it will start, and you can see these values will start jumping, start moving around. There, you can now. So now let's have how about we animate it to make it rotate even on the Z axis at the same time. So I'm gonna hit my R key, right, and I'm gonna say rotate Z. Oops, hit R and Z, and let's say let's put this at okay, let's first leave it at, let's say at frame 25. Let's put a marker right here on the Z now. So I'll come hover onto the Z, then I hit I, right? So now I come to this point, let's say this point, and my Z, this, hit G, then hit Z. Oh wait, that's not it. Hit R, then hit Z. Then I'm gonna rotate it. Let's say let's say okay, I think let's say just leave it at 1 or 110. Okay, 110. Now you have to make sure before you animate your anything here, you have to move first this marker to where you want it to appear at this point. If you do this first, then put this marker here, it will revert to the original position because it's already animated. It already has a keyframe. So you have to first put your marker in the timeline, then animate your item. So there. So now if I hit okay, now let's just also do on the y-axis, right? Okay, I want to show you something cool. Okay, so now on the y-axis, I'm gonna put it a marker right. You can also move your marker right here on your timeline using your arrow keys. See? So let's say on frame 5, I'm gonna start animating my y. Put I on the y. Then on frame 55, I'm gonna now rotate on the y. On the y. Okay, like so. Then I'm gonna hit I. So now the whole scene is animated. So now let's hit A. See, it's a bit, so the closer the keyframes, and the closer the keyframes and the higher the values, it will mean the animation will be faster. As you can see on the y-axis, it rotates very quickly because it's got higher values and the keyframes are very close to each other. See? So you can also, let's say you want to delete your keyframes right here. There's another way using your dope sheet right over here. So today I'm just going to give a tutorial on using the 3D view. I'm not going into any other views. So here, okay, let me close this and this. I'm sure you now know how to bring those up. So to delete a certain keyframe, let's say you want to delete the one on the Y. I just come to the Y here, then just hit my click A, then hit box select by B. Oops. Okay, box select by B, then hit X to delete keyframes, and voila, my keyframes on the y-axis are gone. Now if I play this, okay, wait. If I play this, there is no longer any keyframe along the y-axis. It's just only X and Z. Okay, so this is the dope sheet. This what it mostly does is work with the timeline here. Your markers, your keyframes, you can edit them here. You can stretch them. Like click this one. You can, using your right mouse button, you click it, then you can stretch it and put it wherever you want it. Then hit your left mouse button to leave it at that point. So let's say this one, you want to push it forward. You hit it, then you drag, then leave it there. Then hit your left mouse. Then it will update automatically on this timeline. Then as it plays, it will start moving like so. So okay, so that's all I can say about the dope sheet. Nothing much very fancy, and you can even add markers and name them. Add marker F1, you can name them. I want to close this. Okay. Alright, so let's go back to the 3D, so I can just give you the final quick run. So okay, so add using this, right? Then animate using this side, right? Then after you're done and want to see your item on the render view, Blender works with the render which comes from the camera, and by default there's a camera at this angle. Let me zoom out for you. This is the camera that Blender comes with activated by default. So you can insert any camera you want at any point. Let's say you want to add a camera at the center here. You just put your cursor in the center, Shift A, go to camera, then there, voila, it's added. So now to view using this camera, you're gonna hit Control Alt and O, right? Then this will be your default. This will be your default, the selected one. Now if you wanna leave this one as your if you don't want this one as your default and want this one, you hit it with your right mouse, then Control and 0. Voila, you're in that mode, right? Okay, so now for you to render, you need to have a camera first, then a light source if you're in Blender Render. Today I'm just going to be using Blender Render. Next tutorial we're on circles, one of my following tutorials. Then you need let me just put an example. You're going to need a ground plane where your item is going to be. Now I'm going to just lift this up, and don't mind the camera, it won't come out as rendered, it's just a wired item, so these won't come out on your final render. So you need to put material on, and to put materials you need to come to this sphere with this brownish sphere with these sort of like a record or triangles, I don't know. So you hit new, right? Then you insert the color of your, this is the color on this one written diffuse. This is where the color of this plane is going to be. So you go to diffuse, and maybe let's make it greenish. Greenish is too bad, let's make it blue, right? Blue. And now for this one, let's make it green, or let's make it yellow. Okay, so hit new, come here on your diffuse, make it yellow. So now your light source is there, pull it down, and maybe just increase the energy of the light. By default it comes as 1, but me, I will just put it at 5 so it can be much stronger. And now you're done with all the animating and stuff. You come to your render button right here, and it will render what's in the scene. There, that's what's rendered. And to make yourself a movie, there's a short way. You can use the animation button, then come, okay, let's say you want to make a movie, a quick clip. You come to this part written output, right? Then you hit, I usually use AVI RAW on the format, AVI RAW. By default is PNG, so there will be a stack of images that can be mounted together using the video editor. I want this one. I won't talk much about it today, but that's if you want to use PNGs. But if you just want a quickie, you just put AVI RAW, then you mark how long your clip you want it to be. So now let me just click on this. So remember, the keyframes are shown on the timeline only if the object you are on is activated with keyframe, like this one. It has, so they are the yellow lines. This plane doesn't have, so it doesn't have the yellow line on the timeline. So let's bound the animation. By default it comes with 250 frames. I'm just gonna make it let's say 85. Okay, so now I'm just gonna hit render. I'm just gonna hit animation to render a clip. There we go. So it's gonna, so what it does, it simply makes 85 frames. So let me just pause it, then be back with you after it's done. It's done. So you just locate it at the source you want. So as for me, I'm just gonna play it. I'm using the movie clip editor. Nah, no, not movie clip editor. Let's say sequencer. Right. So I wanna insert a strip. No. And then clip. Where is this? Okay, got a bit confused right there. So I'm gonna go here. By default it saves in the temp. So there. So now to play it, where the heck is backdrop? Thank you. So to see it, you need to put the highlight the use backdrop there, and there we go. Your video is done. That's your video right there. Okay, so now, so that's playing using your video sequencer. Backdrop 3D view. So now let's say you want to edit. Quickly before I go, I forgot to give a rush through on how to edit. Let's say you want to edit this cube, right? Maybe it's just too boxy and you want it to have something of your own. Let's move this to layer 2. You move into your layers using the M key. Just in case maybe you are working on many things and they're coming into your way, press M then 2. Then automatically it comes to layer 2. Maybe you wanted to go to a layer, maybe let's say 7, M7. Then it goes to your layer 7th. There. Move it back to layer 1, M, layer 1. Okay. There, done. Okay. And let's say you want to edit this cube. Hit tab, then 6. That's another way. Or if you don't have menu pie, you can always use this button right here. You just hit as you can see, there's the object on this tab. Go to edit mode, and you're in edit mode already. So they are what we call edges, these lines, and vertices, these white dots right here. These are what we call vertices. Right? These are what we call vertices. And we have faces. This enclosed by the edges is what we call a face. This is let me use my grease pencil to show you that. Mr. Grease Pencil. Come on. No. Okay. What the heck is going on here? Okay, anyway, let me just point out. Okay, so this is the face, edge, vertex. So you can select. So by default it's selected on vertices. So you can click this vert by your right mouse, then you can drag it and put it wherever you want. Let's say you want to push it back, push it up. So now it's not going to be an even rectangle. Maybe you want to pull by the edges. Okay, so let's say you do that. Then you want to move this one also, and these can be moved along the axis also, these vertices. Then on the edges you come here on this bottom here, or you can say tab control, right? Control tab, there. Hit control tab and they appear anywhere you are on the screen where your mouse is. So click edges, then hit your edge, then you can hit G key, or you can just drag them, make it look ugly and funky, weird also, and there, it's now taking shape. And you use your your edges, and this pulls up everything on that front face. In Cinema 4D it's called faces, or it's called surfaces, and in Blender, so in C4D, if you're coming from C4D, this is faces, and in C4D it's surfaces. Those are lines in C4D, and in Blender that's edges. This is, I don't know what it's called in C4D, but anyways, that's it. So you can also put more cuts like these edges and verts. You can insert them automatically by hitting the W key and hitting the subdivide. There we go. So it subdivides the face that's selected. So now there are more faces, more manipulations, but more render time comes in. So the more the faces, the more the longer your clip is going to take for you to render it. So you just need to bear that in mind. So you need to mind the faces and verts you're going to put into your video, into your polygon or an object. Okay, so yeah, so that's that. And here are your poly counts. There are 13 vertices. So far 1 is selected out of 20 edges. These edges are 20 all in all, and there are 9 faces. These are 9 faces. Triangles, 22 all in all, and this is the memory of your cage. So this is where you want to save. You hit file, save as, save copy. This is where you get your settings. Settings in Blender are under user preferences, and this is the render. If you don't want to use this right tab here, you can always use this bottom one on this top toolbar, hit render, or you can just use these hotkeys, either F12. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like my channel, and follow me at Animatony on Twitter or on Facebook. So yeah, I just hope to hear your feedback. Check you later, guys.